Find insight, guidance, and answers. Tune into Spirit with radio medium Laura Lee.
Welcome back. This is Laura Lee with your 5-minute Spirit Reboot. If you happen to be a parent and you are struggling with a stress, anxiety-ridden, depressed child, this is the show for you. I'd like to welcome Mom of 3, podcast host, Moms on a Mission, and pediatric nurse practitioner Julie Phillips Hatch, who is the author of A Parenting Revolution for Higher Evolution. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you very much, Laura Lee. Very nice to be here.
Julie, what is the higher evolution for parents and children?
Higher evolution is to raise kids who are more mindful, higher level of consciousness, more compassionate, more giving, more selfless, less selfish, which happens in other cultures, actually, in other countries where they're a little bit more conscientious and conscious. And I think that in America, we're really wrapped up in materialism and ourselves and our lives.
Do you think technology has a role in this?
Technology does, but technology is here, and it behooves us to work with it mindfully, consciously, rather than try to negate it or remove it from our lives.
And what do you think are the common mistakes parents are making upon their children? What are some of the common parent mistakes?
What I see, and that I think has big impacts on kids, is pressure, having our own expectations that we expect them to fill, and our own visions of what we want for them or what we expect of them, and expecting them to fill it when in fact they have their own lives and they have their own roles and they have their own paths to follow through life. So I think that we put on way too much pressure in all senses of the word, academically, athletically, success-wise, what's going to be a success in life. So I think that we put too much pressure on them. I think that we need to pay closer attention to connecting with our kids, recognizing them for who they are, what they have to offer, who they are inside, because that is what is going to make them strong and resilient and confident through life. This is going to get them through life, is what they have inside. Whatever's out here comes and goes from day to day. So I think that we need to connect with them, make them know that they are worthy and worthwhile with what they have in here, whatever that is.
Right. You talk about a holistic approach. I'm assuming other than taking upon a Western approach, which would include medication.
Yeah, I don't exclude medication by any means. I am a Western practitioner as well, and there's certainly a place for medication, but I think that there are other ways to go first and leave medication as sort of a last final resort. Absolutely, they're indicated in certain cases. But I think a lot of times there are ways to avoid medications, getting out in nature a whole lot more, letting your child have free play and roam and go run around in the woods. That in itself is good for ADHD and depression. What they eat, and I'm not just talking about sugar and soda, everything that they eat does have a huge impact on their behavior, their cognitive abilities, as it does with all of us, with the gut as the second brain. And sleep is super important. With technology and phones going on all night, people are not getting the right kind of sleep. They're really very basic, simple things.
It's so funny you bring up about nutrition when we've got a bunch of teenagers in our family, and a lot of them are getting on to DoorDash, having the food delivered to the house when the parents are cooking dinner. I mean, can you imagine? That is happening.
I hope it's coming out of their pocketbooks.
Right? So what would you suggest as the first tip for a parent out there who might be struggling with this?
The first one actually is to breathe. Be aware of your own body and your own self before you go and try to talk to a child. And then I think it's just really important. You don't have to do, just be and connect with your child. Listen to them. Again, you don't have to have the words of wisdom. You don't have to say all the right things. Don't say anything. Just listen to them and know that what they're saying is worthwhile, that you're listening and you're paying attention. Put your phone down and listen to them. And that is the beginning of communication, the beginning of dropping expectations and pressures. So it's very simple, but that I think is the first thing to do, is connect with yourself and then just connect with your child.
Thank you, Julie. Where can people find A Parenting Revolution for Higher Evolution with Julie Phillips Hatch?
You can go to my website, and that is juliephillipshatch.com.
Thank you. And if you would like to call into the show for me to have that connection for you, go to radiomediumlauralee.com. And if you like this episode, subscribe to our show.